Right now, the investigation is, I think, close to being completed, and I hope that we can get the report from Director Mueller as soon as possible.
George Papadopoulos, a former foreign policy advisor to the Trump campaign, he pleaded guilty to lying to the FBI when the Russia conspiracy started.
He's now the first member of the president's team to be sentenced as part of the Russia investigation.
Retired General Michael Flynn, once President Trump's national security advisor and key confidant, now a convicted felon.
I'm being told right now that the jury has found Paul Manafort guilty of 8 of the 18 counts.
He is expected to plead guilty to 1 count of conspiracy against the United States and 1 count of conspiracy to obstruct justice.
Rick Gates testifying that he was involved in criminal activity with Paul Manafort.
He is saying we committed tax fraud, we committed bank fraud together, and Mr. Manafort was directing that, Katie.
They got him to admit that he's led a secret life in London. Gates then testified that it's possible he may have fraudulently submitted personal expenses to be paid by the Trump inaugural committee.
Robert Mueller has secured a 4th guilty plea in his wide-ranging investigation into Russian interference in the 2016 election.
Alex van der Zwaan worked with former Trump campaign officials Paul Manafort and Rick Gates. He pleaded guilty in February for lying to special counsel prosecutors and the FBI.
We should note van der Zwaan is the son-in-law of a Putin-linked Russian oligarch named in the controversial Trump dossier.
For the first time, an American admits to helping foreigners funnel money to President Trump's inauguration. Longtime lobbyist Samuel Patton in court pleading guilty today to failing to register as a foreign agent.
He made an illegal donation to President Trump's inauguration committee, acting as a straw donor for a Ukrainian businessman banned from making the contribution himself. So
that his Ukrainian client could attend the inauguration. Now, was that because he wanted to curry favor with Donald Trump, this Russian-backed Ukrainian, or was it just because he wanted to go to the parties? We don't know the answer to that.
He was in contact with a man named Konstantin Kalimnik, a former employee of Manafort's consulting company, also described by Robert Mueller as a man with ties to Russian intelligence.
President Trump's longtime personal lawyer, Michael Cohen, is going to jail. Cohen has just been sentenced in a New York City courtroom on multiple charges.
And admitting he and then candidate Trump worked to cover up his alleged affairs during the 2016 campaign. He paid 2 women hush money in coordination and at the direction of a candidate for federal office for the principal purpose of influencing the election.
Admitting he made false statements to Congress about the Russia investigation.
Those false statements regarded the Moscow project. Michael Cohen specifically named the president.
Roger Stone, longtime Trump associate and advisor, was taken into custody by the FBI. This is what the first sounds that Roger Stone woke up to.
FBI, open the door. The chaotic scene playing out in Washington today. Roger Stone, the president's longtime advisor, in court today pleading not guilty to charges brought by the special counsel.
Robert Mueller accusing the self-described so-called dirty trickster of reaching out to WikiLeaks through an intermediary to help the Trump campaign.
Would you now, with the whole world watching, tell President Putin, would you denounce what happened in 2016, and would you warn him to never do it again?
I have President Putin. He just said it's not Russia. I will say this, I don't see any reason why it would be.
The indictment charges 13 Russian nationals and 3 Russian companies for committing federal crimes while seeking to interfere in the United States political system, including the 2016 presidential election. The indictment charges 12 Russian military officers by name for conspiring to interfere with the 2016 presidential election.
We have breaking news out of D.C. Richard Pinedo, who is from California, pled guilty in February to 1 count of identity fraud after he was charged by special counsel Robert Mueller.
The probe is a disaster for our country.
I want to caution you that people who speculate about federal investigations usually do not know all of the relevant facts.